Remodeling a house with your spouse is no easy feat, especially when one of you wants to flip the place and one of you wants to make it your forever home. Which one of us will get our way? There's only one way to find out. I'm Robin Bond, and this is Flipped Out. Well, Darren is a man who does not like change. And so after being in our house for 17 years, I was ready for a new adventure. I wanted to do some house flipping. Our son had moved to college, and I love change. And so 17 years, I was getting really stir crazy. So we started looking at houses, and our first day of looking at houses was what I want to call the moment that we thought maybe we had made a dire mistake, because we sold our house in Austin within 24, 48 hours, something like that. And the houses we saw, let's just say, none of them were very great. None of them had potential.
Came home very depressed. Then we found this online and set it up with Kim to come on Sunday.
We sat down in front of the computer, literally, and this house pops up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's perfect, because I wanted a mid-century look. We call Kim, and she said, oh no, I've seen that house, and it has foundation problems. And I was like, oh. So then the next thing we know, though, she comes to meet us, and she's taking us to this house. Mm-hmm. And so it didn't have foundation problems.
So we talked about the possibility of putting the house on the market, and I was like, okay. So then after that point on, things started to kind of shift for me. And I went from white knuckle, 25% on board to, as the days and weeks went by, 50%, 75%, because I could really see God moving and everything and just lining everything up. Then when I got to the emotional point of letting go of the house, right, all the emotional attachments, I was like, okay. I was like, God, please send the right people you want for this house to bless them. Selling the house in, I believe it was November, and found this.
Before Christmas.
Yeah, before Christmas. But the timing was impeccable, and if we had not have moved as quickly as we did and the way God lined things up, we wouldn't have had this place, there's no doubt. But we closed on this place in December, started the remodel.
Literally the week of right after New Year's. But I do want to make a comment about that too, because suddenly when he found this house, it was like that other house was gone from his mind. And so I told him, you need to remember this next time I'm saying it's time to do something different. And
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, famous last words. So anyway, but he fell in love with this place. Well, then I had a dilemma, because I'm like, wait a minute. We talked about flipping this house, and I wanted to do about 3 house flips. And, I have to admit, I don't know that I can even admit this, but I kind of was thinking, I kind of like this house too. But I still had in my mind, this is what I really want to do, is this flipping thing. And so...
And I didn't say anything, but along the way, just little comments.
So you did the same thing to me.
Over the weeks and the months. She's like, this is nice. And it just became where I could tell she was falling in love with it too.
How things kind of seem to always work out is, one of the things with the house flipping is you have to have a lot of capital. And so that's why we thought, well, we'll live in the house a few years and do the capital gains, avoid that, and just sell our house. But one of Darren's friends from college had been following this, and he loved it, and he said, I will back this thing if you want to flip some houses. So see, it all works out in the end. Now, with the economy the way it is now, definitely not a good time to do that, but I think down the road I will be looking, and when the time seems right, I am on board with that totally. I knew I could do this, it'd be no issue, and as a matter of fact, I loved it, I thrived in it, and everyone says the reason it got done so fast is because, I kind of pushed people along. Tile in the entry, ooh, that was nerve-wracking, and
they were like a half a box short on tile.
Right smack in the middle of the entry, so it couldn't have been in a corner somewhere, right? And
it was discontinued.
And it was discontinued. I don't think it was discontinued. What had happened is they had changed plants and where they make it. And we all know in our industry, we have what we call color runs. And so the slightest change in anything will affect it. Well, they said this tile is a little smaller and the color run is not the same. So I'm not joking. I literally walked around this house before the tile installer got here that day. I was by myself and I literally prayed. I prayed over this area, I prayed over the house, and I was like, Lord, please, this is a miracle. Because the problem was I was pushing things along and I already had drapery installed because I thought this is no big deal. They can just come in, which it really isn't. But if you can't match that tile, you have to pull up all of it. It would have been a disaster. It would have been dust everywhere. And so when Adam came in to lay the tile, I'm not joking, I was standing there. He laid the tile next to the other ones, and there was a hole there that he had left that it fit perfect. And he looked at me, I looked at him, and it just came out of my mouth. I said, oh, thank you, Jesus. And he said, yeah, thank you, Jesus. I think he was like, just because they knew they were going, this would be a big job they would have to eat. This was our main tile. It was a lot of it.
So one other thing I wanted to mention that we didn't have an opportunity to mention in the previous videos was, so Jimmy Jackson was our general contractor with Wild Hair Construction. Did a phenomenal job from the beginning to end. We could not have been happier. He and his team, they're great.
Very ethical, very talented. And another one that I would like to give a shout out to is Julie Woolsey with Woolsey Cabinetry, because one of the other situations we had when the flooring people were doing the tile in the kitchen, somebody pulled out one of the shims from the cabinets, and so on the very end, it's leaning. Well, she's coming back, and Leon, her brother, is 6'5", and thank goodness, because they were going to take the skins off and raise it up to get it where it needs to be, when it wasn't even really their mistake or anything. They're just fantastic, and so thank you, Julie.
Yes, could not be more happy with the cabinets. They're
yes,
phenomenal.
So yes, with all the years I've been doing interior design, I would say one of my strengths is being able to know what needs to happen, also be able to know what my clients need in a situation. And so even though I'm not building their house, I love to work with clients from the time the house starts with construction all the way through till the last lamp is put in place. We're excellent at furnishing homes. So if you're working on your dream home, this is a little ad for Robin Bond Interiors. We've been doing this a long time and do a great job with it. And another kind of fun thing that's happened through this is I was approached by Elle Decor magazine, and they're going to do a one-page, I don't know, you wouldn't call it a spread because it's just one page, but that's kind of neat that this home will be in there coming up in the fall.
Good.
So a fun fact, my son Shelton, he made his mama really proud. He got accepted to Texas A&M. He just finished his freshman year, but when he was going to go there, at first he thought he was going to major in business, but then we did some assessment testing on him and found out there were several things he was really great at. Real estate was one, and oddly enough, the construction industry, builder, and he was also good at any of the things like firefighter, all of that. So he basically decided he wanted to go into construction science at A&M, and I was so amazed, because he likes the house flip thing too. And one day he just said to me, Mom, this is something maybe we could do together when I'm out of college. And I was just like, oh, to hear your kids say that, because you love your kids so much, and to be able, maybe working with your kid is not always the best. You may argue some, I don't know, but I'm excited about it. And when all this started, talking about filming the house flip, I thought it'd be a great idea because it's fun. Well, Darren didn't think it was so fun, and my cousin Lindsay, she's a script writer, she
Thanks, Lindsay.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. She wrote the script for us, and he didn't realize he was going to be a participant. And he, here again, kind of went kicking and screaming a little bit, but then he kind of started getting into it. And then I'm like, okay, calm down. Well, also, you think about this, we're doing this once a week and he travels, and so we're trying to coordinate. And then we would get in these knockdown fights at times over the script, or like, because we'd almost have it and then he'd mess up or I mess up or something. But then it was almost like this bonding experience too. We'd end up, we'd end up like closer at the end of it. It was bizarre. It was an odd thing, but.
No pun intended on the bonding. But yeah, we had, I think, 20 episodes, and so we were shooting once a week. And, you know, it's just, you have to do it, and there's days where you
may
feel
not
better.
feel like it. I'd be like, blah, I don't feel like doing this. And yeah, so.
But at the end of the day, we did get through each one, and most of them I would say were fun and enjoyable. But I think we've got a few outtake bloopers at some point we're going to show you. Wow, 60 years? Damn it. Wow, 60 years? Popcorn really had its heyday. But what I don't understand is why people even put popcorn ceilings in if they don't even look nice.
Why when you talk, do you always have to be like, look at yourself like you're crinkling up your head?
Wow, 60 years? That is a long time. Popcorn really had its heyday. What I don't get is why do people even put popcorn ceilings to begin with if they blah blah blah.
Want a drink? We need a drink.
Wow, 60 years. Popcorn really had its heyday.
60 bottles of beer on the wall.
60 bottles of beer. Take one down, pass it around. Move around bottles. Wow, 60 years. Popcorn really had its heyday. But what I don't understand is why people even use popcorn ceilings to begin with. Why are you laughing?
So in the end, we used a combination of wood and tile flooring mostly throughout the house, but I did find a really cool carpet for the stairs.
Damn it. Okay, so we have to give a shout out to the entire crew working on the house. We could not be happier. They've done an amazing job in a short amount of time, and they're really getting it done.
It would help if you would smile since they're doing an amazing job. You're like, we're going to help.
No! God, come on. So, we have to give a shout out to the entire crew who's been working on the house. They're doing an amazing job, and they're really getting it done.
They're really getting it done.
They're so,
I'm going to be very sad about it.
So really, we have got to give a shout out to our amazing crew who's been working on our home. They're doing a fantastic job. We could not be happier, and they are really getting it done in an amazing speed time. What?
No. Wow, I got to give a shout out to the crew. They're doing a great job and they're getting it done. I mean, you need to have some energy. Don't be so.
It's fun. I think I had energy.